You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
I'm the man, and the man feels no pressure. I am the man that everyone fears.
You are now entering the vicious circle.
You are facing a fuel-injected suicide machine!
I'm the man. When I walk, the ground shakes. I am the master. I am the ruler of the world. They have been waiting below the surface. Shake the earth beneath the giant. Shake the earth beneath the giant.
And welcome to the Vicious Circle. Sid Bud, how are you today?
Good, man. But how about yourself, Rob?
I am doing good so far. I'm back in the basement.
There you go. Like Joe Biden.
Exactly. Hiding.
Hiding
There
Biden.
we go. A lot of people have already tuned in. Kyle and Jeremy both say, hey, how are things going?
Hey, Kyle, Jeremy.
Yes. You said we're going to kind of switch things up tonight.
Yeah. I think what we'll do, Rob, one, because we have one person really complaining out there, Jeff Arthur from Atlanta, Georgia. He's put his name in the hat to be your the president of the Rob Bellamy fan club. He's saying he's having a problem where he's watching the podcast and 30, 40 minutes into it, it's cutting off on him. So he's requesting we do wrestling conversation or topics at first because he doesn't like talking about all the drama happening in the country right now. He actually's got a degree in political science. He went to several universities, Texas, Georgia. I don't know if because he got kicked out. This is the guy that likes to get, choke and masturbate. Remember that guy?
Everyone needs a hobby.
Yeah, right. So anyway, Jeff, we're thinking about you, and we're going to do the wrestling questions first tonight. Then we're going to, you got a girl, her name's Lori, right?
Yeah. She got a hold of us through email.
Right. So we're looking like we've put out, filler out there to say, anyone like to come in, join us for a chat back and forth about whatever topics that come up, whatever topics you have in mind. We'd love to have anyone to come out and join us up here on the Vicious Circle.
Exactly. And she had an interesting topic, and I did a little research and I found out some stuff. So
what was it about?
It's actually about vitamin D and COVID.
Heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it
sounds boring, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So we're going to jump right into wrestling then tonight. And this is going to be a little different because normally with just the podcast, I'll sit there and ask you questions and go on, but we're going to get people to fire in questions as well.
Right.
Okay. And now this is the time period that everybody has been asking for lately. This is when you went back to the Fed for the second time.
Right.
Right. And the one question I have on that is, how did that start? Because you're doing the USWA stuff.
Right.
How did that start?
Well, excuse me, got just a little bit of a summer cold. Got the COVID-19 over here. No,
That's
just
what it
joking.
is.
I hope to God that's not it. No, what happened, Rob? Of course, everyone knows that, I had gotten in that trouble with Arn and WCW and took a little time off. And so really, truthfully, I did play a little softball during that time off. I did do the thing with Memphis. That was just to get, just pick up some, get my timing back. I knew things would come back my way. And while I was working in Memphis, we're in Louisville. I was in Louisville. The company was, and Vince flew me in, offered me this deal to come back. We worked out a deal, and I came back as Psycho Sid.
And when you went back for the first time, what was it like being back there? Because I know you've said that WCW was like a business and WWF at that point was like a carnival.
Well, I knew I was going into because this is really the beginning of what I've talked about so much about being on the whipping post. This was the beginning of that. Knowing I had left, you know, I thought on the fair reason to leave, and of course, I don't think Vince ever thought it was fair enough to leave. But so anyway, that's the beginning of the days of being on the whipping post when I came back. I guess what you're asking me, what was like to be back, is this. Rob, I tell people that you watch that television of WWF at the time, it's WWE now. You watch that and you really can be. I don't think you can be fooled anymore because there aren't any big stars anymore. Okay, but used to you'd watch it. When I first started watching it, before I went to the first time, I went, "Wow, these guys are really big stars." And I told the story about meeting Jim Duggan, who I really like and respect. But when I met him in real life, he really, again, he was just a fat guy in blue tights. It really was nothing special about him, other than he was a hard worker and he had his own style and gimmick, which worked really great. But people like Lord Alfred Hayes really made him, not just him, everyone I watched on that TV looked bigger than they were when I met them. So going there the second time, I'm thinking some of these guys, looked even bigger than I thought they. I thought, like, and I hate to say Jimmy Del Rey and Well Done and on and on and on. I won't just go on and on because I could. But I thought, okay, these guys are not that great, but they look so on that television. When I got there, my first television taping was in I want to say it was Augusta, Georgia. It was south of Atlanta. I think it was Augusta. I think there was like maybe 400 people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I was like, and this is a horrible little building, and it was just like, whoa, So that's what it was like going back. I'm on the whipping post, and things are pretty tough. Because this thing is, Rob, not to cut you off, but to cut you off. When they were sending people in to work with me in Memphis, like even King Kong Bundy, Mabel, Undertaker, Lex, at the Mid-South Coliseum or where these guys would show up once or twice. I think they showed up at Louisville, Kentucky, and this was the normal Memphis, every week run. We did really almost sellouts. But when I got there, I mean, even with all their star power, they could, again, even at a television tape, have 400, 500, 600 people.
Jeez.
And the TVs, they give away lots of tickets.
Yeah, that seems crazy by today's standards to have a show that small, I guess,
Well, Rob, before this COVID-19, their shows were getting that small, because they were blocking people. We know that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's everybody was having a hard time. NFL having a hard time, different reasons, but everything was having a tough time.
Nicole made a comment when you were talking about Jim Duggan. She said that she had the same reaction to the Road Warriors. They're a lot smaller in person.
Well, I remember looking at some of the when I first started working the Road Warriors. You're looking at them across from me. You think, pretty big, not quite as big as me and Danny were. But when I see pictures of like when me and Danny was standing, face to face with those guys, like at the Omni, I mean, I really did make those guys look pretty small.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me see here.
Yeah, no doubt. Quit that Joe Biden. No doubt.
No doubt. So I've been practicing.
Oh man.
I've been practicing that. There was one question I saw go by, and I'm looking for the question. Okay, here we go. Actually, it was Michelle Travers asked Sid, "What would you say is your greatest moment in wrestling?"
Rob, again, because the business is a work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about winning or losing. I would have to say, just because all reason, it was a good match. It was my first championship that really counted. Got my, what I did for myself, worked myself off that whipping post and on and bigger and better things even after that. Things I thought I would never accomplish. And so, that's still probably the single most important and best memory I have in the business.
Is that which one?
With the one with Sean at SummerSlam.
Oh, very good. Yes. Yeah, that is. I consider that iconic.
Yeah.
And okay, here's
Well, this is the reason why, Rob, because I turned everything. From what they wanted it to be. They didn't want me to get over. I got over better than anybody in the business. I forced their hands to turn things to put the belt on me, give me the run that they wanted to give other people. I was able to do that, then pass it on to, kick started that territory because it was dead on its ass. I don't have to go into it, but it's well documented, so I'm sure everyone's story lines up with that, or close to it.
Here is one from Jake. Jake said, ask Sid, does he have wrestling buddies? Like, do you still talk to some people that you worked with?
I talked to a few. I talked to Stevie Ray a couple weeks ago. I talked to Carl Willett probably more than anyone. I talked to Harvey Whippleman once in a while, but really I don't talk to a whole lot. It's just when I was on the road, a lot of times I did ride by myself, and the people I rode with, only just a couple that I could really say that I was friends with.
Okay. Ryan Haskell has a question. That'd be kind of interesting to know. What was your favorite celebrity that you got to meet through wrestling? Because you mentioned Duggan.
He's not really a celebrity. He's just a fat guy. I just said that. Remember?
Yeah.
Fat guy with blue tights. No, I'm just kidding. I can't say he's a celebrity. A fat guy with a 2x4. Nah, getting close, but not quite.
Almost.
Internet Sid. Was that he? Was that you?
I think he's creeping. I think he's peeking out there.
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, sorry, Jim. That's Internet Sid saying that stuff. I mean, what was the question, Rob? Internet Sid was taking over.
Was there a favorite celebrity that you got to meet? Like, who's your favorite celebrity you got to meet?
Man, there were a bunch of consider him a celebrity. The guy that all right. The thing I probably really enjoyed the most was I met so many people. I got to give Wayne Gretzky an autograph. Got an annual from Dean Smith right out of his office. So I got to meet some really cool people. On and on. The greatest, right? Not Muhammad Ali. Marvin Hagler. I told that story. But maybe the coolest moment, because it lasted so long, was with James Brown.
Wicked.
He did a show with us in San Francisco at the Cow Palace, and I think the deal is he came in to do something with Miller. What's the guy's name? Ernest Miller. The guy he did the cat. He did that karate stuff. I know he did something past that karate where, and I was there, I should remember this, but it was something where he started wearing the cape and stuff like James Brown. So they brought him in, I think, just to do that for him, to put the cape on him or something like that. So he was like all of us. He fell for it. He came, it was like pay-per-view. So he stayed all day with us. And so he was unfortunately right next to me in the locker room. And I bugged him all day. Come on, James, do that, man. Come on, do that split thing. Okay. Yeah. Everybody came through the locker room. James, do this for this guy. Oh, okay. But what a cool dude. Man, I'm telling you, that was the coolest moment. I've hung out with Carl Perkins in the airport in New York. We both were stranded, and offered him to stay with me in my room, but he decided not to. I wouldn't have done that either. But hung out with Mickey Ward, Chuck Zito. Everybody does that. But to hang out with James Brown, that was pretty cool.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, Rob, you can't say that, right?
No, I can't. I've never met him. No, but
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
You didn't dance with him like I did.
No, not.
Well, you didn't make him dance. Well, I asked him to dance.
Yeah.
No, he didn't do it like 50 times, but he did do it once or twice. And at his age, all right, to be able to, I couldn't have done that at 20 or 15 or 7.
Oh yeah.
I watch him do that on a hard concrete floor. No props. Dude's awesome. Awesome. He was so cool, so friendly, so smart. wow, such a different person you'd think when you hung around him for like 2 or 3 hours like I did. I don't know why he stayed in the room that long, the locker room. I would have left at that point, but he's just so cool.
That is awesome. We have Nikora here. She says, fellow Marion resident here, what would you say growing up in a small town in Arkansas did to help your perspective on your career?
Well, I talk about it a whole lot. What's your name?
Nikora.
Nikora. I talk about it quite a bit. It really kept both of my feet on the ground. I never got too big for my britches, or what we hear sometimes. I never got above my raisin. Just that. Being here from Arkansas, have lived and worked on a farm up to that until I really got into the wrestling business. I thought about it actually a little bit today that, even when I went to the WWF for the first time, man, I was just a dumb country kid. When, again, in WCW, the beginning days, they had to put Danny Spivey with me just where I could get from town to town. So, honestly, I never lost that. I kept that the whole time. When I went to these places, when even meeting, like we told the story about James Brown, it never was like, I was so appreciative of him taking time with me, but that's probably why he took the time with me, because he goes, man, this guy, and another guy I want to shout out to too. He's not with us anymore as well, that I enjoyed being with, was Joey C from Kid Rock, the little short guy.
Yeah.
What a cool guy. Now, we hung out so many times. He'd always come to the shows when we were in Detroit. It's not I don't hide this. We'd go out and just smoke joint after joint, about as big as he was. Just laugh, man. And I did put him on the spot a couple times. I'd go, come on, Joey C, do that rap. He'd go, oh man, okay, rap. Cool dude. Joey, come on, man, do the rap. Oh shit, oh rap. Just, man, those are, to me, the moments in my career that I cherish the most.
That is awesome.
Joey C. Shout out to you, Joey C. J to the C.
And yeah, I miss that group. What was it? D12, I think they were called.
Kid Rock, jerk.
Well, Kid Rock was in it, but it was that whole bunch.
Oh yeah.
Right? Or wait.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't know. I might be mixing groups, and I apologize if I am.
Yeah, you are, you Canadian jerk.
Yeah, that's what it is. Let me see.
You might know your movies, maybe. We're going to get Jeff on here, the president of your fan club. And that's, by the way, to everybody that's watching or listening to or tuning in or seeing some of these images of the Vicious Circle, Rob now has got a fan club, and we want people to send in questions for Rob, ask about his fan club, ask me about his fan club. I actually got a couple questions right here on my phone. That's my grandson, everyone. We call him son, by the way. I've got a couple questions too, Rob, that someone wants to ask you, but we'll ask them a little bit later.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah. Let's get to Greg's question.
Okay, Greg.
Good day, Sid, you legend. Any interesting or crazy stories from Australia, New Zealand, or Japan? When wrestlers travel for distances to a foreign land, stranger days are known to happen. Cheers.
Australia, I went there twice, once for WCW to promote some stuff. I did get hospitalized from being there, from the rugby team, the Brisbane Broncos. Cool thing there, I got to take a picture with one of the U.S. Olympic female team off the Olympic team, and I think she'd win a gold medal. I have that picture somewhere. Anyway, probably the thing I remember most is just I was in every PR thing you could think of in Australia. They're equivalent to the Tonight Show, blah 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 blah. But the thing that I remember the most was I was doing this little segment with the Brisbane Broncos, and man, those guys take their rugby serious. Now I'm there. I've already got a little bit of injury to my hip. I'm just actually working out in their facility, which is like, oh my God, it's like caveman days. It's like just like it was when you were in the 7th grade, the gym, the weights with tape on them and the smell, which was okay. So anyway, we get out there to do the little clip, and what it was, they had me running into the end zone, and they were supposed to come up and just really touch me, like circle around, and like, hey, sort of high five or whatever. But when I got there, man, they never were like ever even a little bit friendly. They just were sort of to themselves. And so we get out there to do the deal, and I take off. Now, I've always told everyone, used to, I was pretty fast for a big guy. And I took off, and I get ahead of them, and I actually get into the end zone before they get to me. Man, one dude came up behind me and grabbed me by the shirt and wrenched me down to the ground so fast. I landed my hip onto the heel of my heel, and I ruptured the bursa sac in my hip, and I had to have surgery when I got home. So I don't know if you call that funny or not, jerk.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. But no, really. But again, that just happens. But that happened in Australia. But I will say this about Australia: the greatest, the most friendliest people I've ever met in my whole life. I mean, usually, you travel, you're going to run across jerks in the airport, from the people that, check your bags, to the people at the counter, to the stewardess, just on and on. That's the way it works. Hotel places, you say, oh, it's so. Australia, I never met an unfriendly person. Just sitting in the lobby of those hotels were just unbelievable, hanging out and stuff. But what a beautiful place to go and hang out at.
nice. Dennis here, he did correct me. As soon as I said D12, I figured I was wrong. But yeah, D12 is Eminem's group.
All right, yeah. Ugh.
That's what it was. We have another question here from Rondell. The Battle of the Power Bombs. How was it working with Diesel, Kevin Nash?
It was worked with him, twice in WWF and in WCW too. Kevin's always easy to work with. He doesn't stress out on stuff. He's got his couple little moves that are easy. That little picture thing he takes in the corner. The only thing we were doing the angle in WWF, and I think he would agree to this. It was just the territory was struggling. It was just we were both being paid as well as you could be in a situation like that, and we were both fortunate enough to be on top in a situation like that, and that's why we probably survived a little bit better than most of the other people there. But the conditions were tough, but we always made the best of everything.
Perfect. Dennis here asked, if the power bomb didn't work for you, did you have any other moves that you were thinking of using for that?
You know what? I really never did. I had the power bomb. A guy named David, his wrestling name's Motley. It showed me. He had saw it in Japan, and then I was using the finishes that were given to me from the promoters I was working with, and then I really was looking around, and of course, when I got the Continental, they already had in their minds made up for me to use that Cobra clutch. So I adjusted it and made it to a little more violent version of it, and I actually used it in spots later on in my career that I think was a good spot. But no, I really didn't, Rob. I didn't have anything else in mind.
I remember you saying that one kind of fell in your lap, and it was like the perfect thing.
Yeah, I remember the first time using it in Birmingham at the Botwell Auditorium. I've told the story. I heard a guy at the ringside. I said, "Man, that guy's dead." And this is a long time ago when you didn't hear those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
When you heard it, you know they were serious.
Yes. Yusuf has a question, and if you remember, this was the very first question I asked you off the record when we got talking. Hey, Sid, were you initially booked to lose to Goldberg in the first place, or was it just due to the excessive bleeding? Because remember that match, it looked like it was a legit injury.
Right. No, it was. I really won't think the scheduled match to where I really put him over was the I Quit match after that. But it was sort of, I guess, this is what happens. I think that was a good idea. I like the way how we got to where it was so much blood. Then that was Kevin Nash's idea, and that's where the doctor actually numbed me, cut me in the back before the match actually started that night. Where me and Bill got an altercation in the back of the MGM Grand Auditorium or Coliseum, whatever you want to call it. So that was a really cool idea, a good beginning of that. It made everything the lead up to that. I think that should have been used last after the I Quit match, because it did get over so well. you really couldn't go anywhere after that. For a lot of different reasons, but really it was hard to do that after that. So, but again, I think it's one of those good ideas, and it all went well till the very end of it. Because when the excessive bleeding, they wouldn't let people do that again. I think they had in mind probably do that again. So I think it was a good idea. It just didn't get to finish what they might have been able. I always look forward to doing something different. I'm never done blade jobs or got color like that. So if I'm going to do one, that's one I don't mind being a part of, because it had a really potential to, or at least where people remembered it, right? So,
yeah.
So again, that was a cool blade job. I was glad to be a part of it. I just wish it could have just meant something different, had a better finish to it.
Well, yeah, because there's so many names out there that are synonymous with bleeding. Like
Yeah,
as soon as they get in the ring, there's going to be
Doodle the Butcher.
Yeah, well, that's one that just jumps into head. Yeah,
Right.
Dusty was another one because his
Right,
forehead was always scar tissue.
Had that big hematoma up there all the time.
But with that match, everybody remembers because it wasn't all the time.
Right, exactly.
Here's one from Craig Usher. Hey, Sid, any memories on wrestling up in Canada?
Yeah, actually, I was watching the strongman competition today. It was taped, I guess, in 2017. It was up there. I really miss it up there, especially in the wintertime. Summertime wasn't fun being anywhere.
Especially
but
right now.
Yeah, Canada, no one wants to come to the shows, and they're dead. But no, I remember the little venues, those like the one I saw today had the red, the yellow, the blue seats, and those little places like Winnipeg and Cal. The little venues they ran. And I talk about all the time how bad it was. In that era with, especially in that period where I worked with Diesel and Brett worked with Diesel. I remember when Brett and Kevin were working in Canada in the wintertime, and we couldn't, meaning we, the whole company, couldn't sell out a high school. But I loved it. I loved being up there. I love the food. When I look back at it, sometimes I forget how small it was or how diminished the business was at that time. Because we think of the business being 80,000 people, and it's just not like that all the time.
Well, that's all you see on TV.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't see those little old buildings that used to be in Ottawa, and the old building that, man, I can't remember the name of it, where we ran in Toronto, the Maple Leaf. God, it was like horrible. The crowd was horrible. They were hard, and it was again, it was just, but you still enjoyed being there. I always loved the little towns in Canada when we'd be on those 4 or 5 day loops where you'd never get out of your car. You'd be up in BC, just, man, especially in the fall, it was so beautiful up there. I remember one time me or Carl Willett was up there, and Carl had that patch because he really lost his eye as an accident in an accident when he was a kid. And my hair at the time was so long, and we had the windows down and just air going everywhere. And we'd stop to get gas, and I'd put that patch on, and I'd be getting gas, and the guy's looking at me. Or sometimes at that time you'd find a full station, a full service station where they pump your gas, and sometimes they do it. Where I would do it, and the guys look at me, I'd go, "Hey man, are you looking at my eye?" The guys go, no, we. No, I said, no, don't give me that shit. Are you looking in my eye, man? No. And I'd pump more gas, or he would pump more gas, and I'd go, no, you are. You're looking at my eye. No. And so we'd go in the store, and I'd start paying for the gas or whatever we might get, a drink or something. And you still looking at my eye? No, we. And I'd take the thing off, and I had my eye closed. I'd go, So we just had a lot of fun up there in those little small towns like that, me and Carl.
I don't understand why people are afraid to talk to you.
I know, right? Right.
Let me see here. Albert put in here. Hello, Sid from California. Just wanted to thank you for the great time when you came out here and hope to work with you again.
Albert, I guess you're the brother to Greg. Albert, man, I had a great time out there. I really did. I thought it was Anthony. I guess it's Albert. Anyway, did have a great time, Albert, with you guys, other than when the guy coughed in my face. And then on the way home that a man and woman got in a fist fight. The cops had to take him off the airplane. But other than that, it was a really good time. I'm glad I got out there too, because like you guys might get burned out there. I hope everything's okay, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of fires going on out there right now, all the West Coast.
Rob, you tell me if this looks like I really care. Greg, Albert, we're worried about you out there in California with those fires.
That looks like concern.
There we go.
There you go. Now I'm going to let Lori know if she's watching right now, because it's right around that time. Log back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's about time.
So now while we're waiting for her, here's a question from Rondell again. How did you feel about Harvey Whippleman being your manager?
Well, I gave him the job. Actually, what it was, Harvey, or Bruno, we started together I started with him down in Alabama and Continental, and I was Lord Humongous, and he was downtown Bruno. So he became a manager down there, and we got him a position there in the WWF, and it just didn't work out with a couple of people he was managing. They made a switch to me where I was going from babyface to heel, and I pulled Harvey in to be my manager for the rest of the short time I knew I was going to be there.
Nice.
That way, I give him a little shot in the arm. He'd be able to keep his job, hopefully, and
Exactly. All right, let's get one more good question here. Actually, this one we'll answer too, because someone asked if you're a sports guy, and if so, which do you follow? But then Terrence said, do you watch any football? And if so, who's your favorite team?
Well, I'm a big college football fan for sure. Alabama, always my number one team. I go back back a long time ago with Bear Bryant, the days of Bear Bryant with my grandmother. She's the one who really got me into college football back long time ago. So that's one of my favorite hobbies. That's why I like calling games, and that's why I sort of, again, I have no political bone in my body. We're going to laugh about it later. But I just bet it against Donald Trump because it just looks like all the odds are against him. But no, I enjoy betting on a college football game or a college basketball game. That's probably the most fun you could have for $5, especially when you go with the point spread, because the point spread is where it's at. And if you do enough of those games, you'll say, man, these guys know what's going on. And it almost seems like they do. But it's just that much fun. And I recommend it to everyone. Put $1, $5 with one of your friends. But do the point spread. And cool thing about it is this, what I'm getting to is that in a college basketball game, it's not like a football game where you're sitting on a lead or sitting trailing or something like that. It's, you're up and then you're down and you're up and you're down. And then literally 3 seconds in a college basketball game feel like 3 hours. I mean, it's like, you're like, there's no way they could get 7 plays off in 1/10 of a second, but they do it. It's like, whoa, So that's a lot of fun to watch, guys.
And Ronnie Gibbs is like a gift from heaven, because Ronnie Gibbs says, when are y'all getting to talk about the vitamin D and COVID connection? I'm old and it's getting past my bedtime. That is like the perfect segue.
That's it, man. Let's go straight to it. Let's bring in Lori.
Yep. And Lori, how you doing? Oh, can she hear us? Can you hear us, Lori?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, good. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I think I've got a little bit of a delay.
There's a bit of a lag. Yes, I'm noticing. Not a worry. You got a hold of us for a certain topic. What topic did you write in about?
Well, I've enjoyed watching the show, and in my email, I've really enjoyed the wrestling topics, but also talking about COVID and, just what's going on in the country now and everything. And so it got me thinking. I was really wanting to know more about, it started out with wanting to know more about Sid's daily, his activities, like what he does to take care of himself, from eating to supplements to exercise and everything. But then I myself have experience with having COVID, and I believe that the vitamin D link may have helped my case be mild. So it got me thinking about that too, that the media is not talking enough about, things we can do to stay healthy. And I actually started researching more about the vitamin D and the COVID link. So that got me thinking about, just things we can do to stay healthier on a daily basis and how we can help ourselves to prevent, maybe from getting it, but also if we do get it, hopefully to have a milder case.
Yes.
Lori, I think that's a great thing to talk about now. What I've done is Rob can testify to this is since the COVID thing started, I've lost right about 55 pounds. And that's from just cleaning up my diet, got rid of just one thing at a time, from potato chips to red meat, and really just really white meat and vegetables. And pretty much that's it. The worst thing I have in my diet is a few sugars from fruit juice, and then I battle that with water. But I believe for sure, because everything you hear, and the more we hear about COVID-19, that the healthier you are, for sure, the better you're going to do. Now, I will say this: as far as nutrition, back when we were working out and eating to be as big as we could be, one of the things we found out, and that, like, for instance, like when you took in say whatever your protein, for me it'd be 150 grams of protein in my carbohydrates. Science showed us that by taking in a multivitamin, that our body utilizes protein and carbohydrates more efficiently. And after they started doing studies on vitamins and how it worked with humans, stuff like that, they found out, this was years ago, 20, 30 years ago, where C, D, and E were first a great combination to have, if you weren't taking, all the others, right? But even with the multivitamin, C, D, and E helped everything, helped your immune system, helped you recover faster, helped the muscle growth, everything. So there are some really links to C, D, and E that probably will say or suggest that they would benefit people that are, say, being prepared to get COVID or hoping to fight against COVID. And we know that we can't take too many vitamins, because if we do, we just sort of get rid of them.
I do have to say, your fans, Sid, are the greatest fans in the world. Ramona put a message in here. Hey, Lori, so glad to see you on Sid's show.
Oh, great, man. Thank you, Ramona.
Yes. Now, I was doing some digging, and it was interesting that you mentioned that media doesn't talk about it a lot, because the only thing I could find was an article from Canadian television about this research. It was the only link I could find. And it talks about how vitamin D deficiency can cause an increase in the virus in your body.
Right.
But nowhere else. Like,
not to cut you off, Rob, this is what it is. There's very few studies that are getting done or have been done. So that's why you see very little chart work on them. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the thing about vitamins, most of that is not governed by the USDA regulations. So if you say I got a multivitamin, or I've got a pack of Metrics that's got a multivitamin in it, and that was their selling point, you don't know that you're really getting that in there. And that's why a lot of people are a little leery to commit to vitamins, because first of all, they become really, really expensive. I remember just taking a multivitamin with every one of my meals. Just think about that, 8 times a day. That adds up really fast. And then I take the multivitamin. On top of that, I take the C, D, and E extra with that. Of course, that's when you're fighting really hard to, get every pound of muscle you could get, recover as fast as you can. And nutrition is the vehicle that does that for you.
Jeremy also said hello to Lori. And someone also commented, nice Pink Floyd t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So now, Lori, you mentioned that you actually had COVID, but the vitamin D helped you. Could you explain that a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had it back in the summer several months ago, and I was doing everything I could to protect myself, and I was staying at home. I wasn't getting out, and I had another health issue going on at the time that was related to my heart. So I was really especially trying not to get it, and I got it anyway. So while I had COVID, I also was having the heart issues. And so I was concerned but my case never progressed past mild. And I truly believe I have a doctor who has me already set up on supplements, and I already had my vitamin D, B12, all that, all my levels were good already. And I really believe, of course, I don't know for sure, and I'm not a doctor, but I really believe that helped me not to have such a severe case when I had other health issues going on at the same time. And since then, I have talked to other people who have experienced the same thing. People who were taking vitamin D at the time they got COVID, and they had a mild case. Now, I'm not saying that happens every time, but I've heard it from more and more people. And then I've heard people talk about, well, their doctors are starting to tell them and mention vitamin D. So that's just something I'm passionate about, and about, taking care of my health. And I really believe,
Right.
If you have yourself set up already to be healthy, then that would definitely, and I've read several articles where they're linking it. They can't say for sure, but there is a possible link between vitamin D deficiency and the severity of your COVID case.
Well, I bet you if you talk to there's one lady I saw recently who's they're called I think they're called the long haulers, the people that have these horrible effects from COVID-19, 2, 3, 4, 5 months after having it. And I bet you if you looked at that, you might see some more studies where it shows that maybe they were vitamin deficient, and maybe that is helping a little bit. I really believe in this, everyone, and this is not just COVID-19, but for myself, and Rob's known me now for over a year. Whenever I feel down, if I get run down, and if I did have, I thought it was COVID-19 back in February, January, if I got a cold or flu, something like that, I eat myself out of it. And I really do. I think I'm one of the healthiest eaters I know. I really am. And I do believe we can eat ourselves out of situations like that. And I feel like I've done it time and time again. And I know vitamins will help us. Now, I think science, and I don't know this, but I think science tells us the greater way to get our vitamins are through real foods, like, cheese, milk, that's your calcium, and your vegetables have got all your vitamins, things like that. Your fruits have got the vitamin C, stuff like that. But we can't have enough of them. And I think studies do show that most of us, a lot of us, do have deficiency. And for some reason, it does show that D pops up more than the rest of them. I think that because we know, or where they're showing us, that studies show that D, E, and C together are some type of magic combination. You'll see that I haven't seen it recently, but after I started using that, after studies were done, you'd see it on a package of cheese. You'd go calcium plus C, D, and E, those three highlighted. So there had to be something to it. If not anything, where maybe they might have changed their mind about it, but for sure at one time it was.
Well, and as Lori said, it's testament. If you have enough vitamin D, you can help keep yourself healthy. And that,
right.
And like you've said on the podcast many, many times, Sid, as long as you're starting healthy, it helps to keep you healthy.
It really does. Hey, Lori, do you want to hear something funny? Me and Rob just figured out this past week about myself and Rob.
Uh-oh.
I've talked to Rob about this, but he didn't know that I was going to talk about it tonight. Me and Rob, since this COVID-19 thing started, right? So we got our own conspiracy theories, or not conspiracy, but we think we're getting it figured out. So in the very beginning, we both hear about, at first they weren't saying anything about social distancing, or, there wasn't a big demand to wear masks and stuff like that. So when we first heard of it, and we first saw it, me and Rob really jumped on the wagon about wearing masks. Then they did the shutdowns, or limited shutdowns, stuff like that. So me and Rob started guessing about what's going on and yada, yada, yada. And of course, the big deal was Trump's not really like there's nothing wrong. And Dr. Fauci saying there is something wrong. And all of a sudden people start dying. Me and Rob go, hey, man, these motherfuckers, they're hiding something from us, And so we started thinking about it. Time goes on and words get popped up like, herd immunity. I first heard that one. Oh, my God, Rob, my biggest fear. They know what's going on, and they're marching us right towards herd immunity. And, of course, we're thinking, yeah. And so the other morning, we talk every morning like 4 and 5 in the morning when we're both walking. He's walking the streets of Canada doing funny steps. I'm doing funny steps here in Arkansas at 5 in the morning. So anyway, we're freaking our neighbors at the same time we're walking. So I'm talking the other morning. I said, Rob, you know what it is? I think that they know this is happening, and they just don't care. Then the next morning I go, Rob, you know what it is? This is what's going to happen. They said this, that they know it's going to take 1 year to 3 years to get a vaccine. They know the vaccine is only going to be 50 to 70% effective, and only 50% of people are going to take it, meaning we are going to face herd immunity. I said, and then what it is, and then the next day, it so happens, the story comes out about Trump, had known this and had been playing it light. Then it's just like, man, Rob, I was right about this. And then so I talked to my uncle, who's a head, of an AIDS clinic, and this is the deal. Everyone knew that, but me and Rob.
We were the only
Tell
two.
my uncle, Bill, I got it figured out. It's 1 year to 3 years of vaccine, blah, 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 blah. I go, and the rest of it's herd immunity. He goes, yeah. I went, you mean you already knew that? I said, I asked you this 6 months ago to tell me what's going on. So me and Rob figured it out after everyone else.
Yeah, that's how good we are.
We did it at 5 a.m, and I was in Crittenden County, Arkansas over here. And then that afternoon we felt like this big.
Yep.
Or this our brains were this small.
Just throwing this up too. Jeremy also likes your Pink Floyd t-shirt. The Pink Floyd t-shirt's getting a lot of press tonight.
I'm getting a Pink Floyd shirt next week.
I'm sticking with my Stormtrooper.
Yeah, well,
I'm a Star Wars guy. What can I say?
Big music fan here, so yeah.
Yeah.
well, me too. Now, we talk a lot about music, quite a bit, just having of late. Now, you said you're around where at, Lori?
I'm originally from Savannah, around Pickwick Lake.
I know that, but where are you at right now?
I'm in Mississippi now.
What part?
Around Columbus, Brooksville, Mississippi.
Okay, yeah, Columbus. I love that part. Now, if you ever get a chance, there's a station in Memphis. It's called The Weevil. It's 89.9, and it's been the best station in Memphis for. You heard of it? Do you listen to it?
I have actually been listening to it. I told Rob the other day we talked. I've listened to it, and so has my family. We've actually been listening to it. Yes.
Now, being from Columbus, you have to appreciate, enjoy Wednesdays from 10 to 2. It's called Bashful Bob and the Sure Enough Country Hour. You ever listen to that segment?
I haven't heard that one.
Well, it only comes on Wednesdays. He's been dead for almost 10 years, but they air him every Wednesday. And he'll talk about, hey, this is Bashful Bob. Hold on a minute. I got one of these electronic letters here. It says, Bashful Bob, really love your show. I love when you play these good old country songs. And there's no commercials. And he'll talk about, hey, if you got a cat, leave them indoors. They live longer. And they kill things, or when it's the season of the box turtle. This is Bashful Bob. And this is the season of the box turtle. You see one of those critters, get out, help them cross the road. Well, I talked her right off the screen.
I think you did.
She ran to the Weevil station.
That's
Boy,
it.
I was just joking. It's
She
really
said,
not a Weevil station.
I'm going to go listen to it right now.
Really, man. God, I really sold her on that.
Now, when I spoke to her yesterday when we were prepping for this, she's out in the country and she has a hotspot. So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, hang on. Here she is. She is back.
All right. Yeah. Well, all right.
I had to go. Yeah.
Yep.
I had to go hear my
Go
music.
take a leap.
Sid said, yep. She's gone to listen to Weevil. That's how good he sold it.
Really, man. Well, you would probably like too, Lori. There's a girl that come on in the mornings. Her name's perfect timing. No, you ever heard the girl named Melody, and her segment's called the Music City Reveille, and she plays more modern stuff. Have you heard her?
I don't think so.
Now, did you hear it live, or you downloading it? Or are you just streaming it?
I'm streaming it. And when I turned it on the first time, it was the classic country, like from the 30s, I think from the 20s and 30s. So I had to tell my dad about that because he loves old country music. So that was actually the first show I listened to on there.
Well, this is the thing. You can pull it up and look at it. They don't come on air till 6 in the morning. They go off at midnight. And so every 2-4 hours, the genre changes the music. Now on Saturday mornings, Your Father Loves Country Music is the best. It's called the Bluff City Barn Dance, and it's all bluegrass. Now after that, I don't care for it. It's called the Scottish Celt Hour, where it's Irish pub music, and I'm just not big on Irish pub music. But no, they've got so many cool segments. On Friday nights, there's a guy named Captain Pete, and it's called Captain Pete's Blues Cruise. It comes on at 9 o'clock. Now, he's been dead for 25 years, and they air him every Friday night like he's still alive. And he comes on after a segment called Lonnie and the Rockabilly whatever. It's Rockabilly like Jerry Lee Lewis. I bet your dad would enjoy that too. But it'll come on, and Lonnie will tell the story a lot of time. Well, we're going to Captain Pete's Blues Cruise. Of course, he's no longer with us, but he's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. And so it'll go into Captain Pete's segment, same song every week, and it'll be like 9:14 or 9:15. He'll go, "Hey, Lonnie, thanks for that introduction. Yeah, we're on Captain Pete's Blues Cruise. It's 9:14." And it's like, wow, it's 9:14, man. I got chills just talking about it, like right then, you know. But the cool thing about it, he'll tell you what it was like to be in Clarksville, Mississippi, and that's the home of the blues. It's where the guy did the deal with the devil, you know, the crossroads, right? Mississippi is the home of the blues. Everybody came through there. Highway 61 is called the Chitlin Highway. I'm giving everybody a real quick education in the blues. So he can make you feel like you were there. He'll go, yeah, I remember when I was just a kid, and yeah, my mom used to take me down there, and Howlin' Wolf come up with his trailer, and B.B. King come up with his trailer. And, man, I'd be scared because they all be outlaws, and man, they play all night, and man, but it's just like, again, I'm getting chills. It's like you are there, and that's so cool about the Weevil. Segments like that to, I'm just talking about the Weevil tonight, right?
Yeah.
It just goes on and on. I heard today, being Sunday, it's called the Cathedral of something rock. I'm not really into heavy metal, but it's usually pretty good. And then they got the reggae hour. I'm telling you, I'm not a big reggae person, but I'll listen to it, and not every 30 minutes and not every Sunday, but every once in a while, even on that segment, I'll hear a song and I'll go, I don't know who that was or what that was, but that might have been one of the greatest songs of any song I've ever heard. And that's what's cool about the Weevil. The Weevil stands for We Volunteer too, and it's just a cool station.
It is. Like you said, Lori's gotten into it.
Yeah.
I listened to it up here in Canada.
Cool, man.
Yes.
Excellent. Let me see here. If there is any more questions on the side, none that I can see. So, Lori, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
And sharing what you did with us.
Right. It was really
Thank
cool,
you
Lori.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no.
Well, it's sometimes it's hard to stand up on a platform and say things you want to be, or you want to say. People are scared to talk about things sometimes, and even it's something simple, it's hard to get out just talking about a vitamin deficiency, something we haven't heard enough about. Now, this COVID-19 thing, guys, is not going to go away anytime soon. So if there's any little thing that we can find out there to educate ourselves, to broaden our vision on anything, and this is right now for sure a serious deal. Yeah, this is why too. People are listening. That sorry, Lori, you got bumped out again.
Yeah, she'll be back.
But this is why they compare it to the flu, and you can compare it to the flu because of this very reason. It's a virus. Unfortunately, it's just 5-6 times deadlier than the virus, and they don't have a vaccine. And just like all viruses come around, of course, me and Rob are just finding this out today. They don't go away right away. Unfortunately, no one's telling us. They're not telling it. I would rather them tell me like the way I've said it tonight. It's a virus. It's going to take 3 years to eradicate. And even they didn't know social distancing, mask wearing, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's going to be, some people are going to take the vaccine. Some people aren't. So, how do we protect ourselves? So we got to protect ourselves. We don't realize too, if you don't get the vaccine, if you don't get immune to it, you're going to have to wear a mask for a while. and then we don't know we're going to have to wear a mask even if we do get it, because we're finding out now people are getting it a second time. So like Lori said, and I've been told this honestly, and I won't say who, but from two different doctors. One is a doctor, actually one of my doctors, and one of them is a friend of mine who's a nurse practitioner, but pretty close to a doctor. When talked about COVID-19 to them, even them knowing I've had, even the small and minor heart ablations, I've had 2 of them in the last 6 years. Even knowing that, said, Sid, even if you were get it, you're probably going to be okay. Knowing how healthy I've kept myself and stuff, but still, I don't want to take that chance. I don't want to be on a ventilator. I already have bad asthma. I'm not worried about my underlying heart condition. It's my asthma I worry about. Even tonight, I can't get out of a whole conversation without my throat clogging up,
And see, that's the big thing too, because it affects your lungs and it's a breathing thing, asthma and stuff like that. It's a risk.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, I don't care. This isn't me making this up, Rob. In this part of the country, allergy and asthma is 10 times worse than any other part in the world. So if you already got asthma, you got allergy-induced asthma, that's pretty borderline. We have to have an inhaler all the time. And this is a bad part of the country. So if you're on a ventilator, you got asthma, and it gets worse in this area, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're not. You're not.
So that's why I look at stuff like this. Like, if the one thing I can do to help is wear a mask, that's the least I can do. And I'm happy to do that. Lori bringing this topic up. If I can increase my vitamin D and that's going to help, then know I can do that. These are small little things that help in the long run.
No, Rob, like you just said, it's all those small things. Wearing a mask, be conscious or considerate of other people. I'll be honest with you, I'm wearing a mask to protect myself. And that's just being honest. I like to, if I thought I had it, I'd go to the doctor. But I don't. I hope I don't. But again, I'm wearing it to protect myself, but I also want not to offend anyone. Excuse me for burping so much tonight. I don't want to offend anyone either by that, by not wearing one. I talked to a guy at Walmart at the grocery store this afternoon about that. We don't want to pass this on to anyone. We don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. It's like someone's overweight. I'm not comfortable saying, "Hey, man, you're fat," unless I want to say that. But when you want to say that, you're taking the risk of hurting someone's feelings or offending someone. This is the worst time in the world to offend someone, I think, with everything going on like it is. I just don't see any light in the tunnel for all the crap that is going on in our world. It's just not the U.S., everyone. Protests are going on everywhere.
They are.
Every country, every part, every county in every country, or whatever you want to call those places. It's just happening everywhere. It's just a tough time, and the COVID-19 is the catalyst in this whole deal for everyone. It's causing so much trouble. I very seldom meet someone that hasn't been affected or doesn't know someone has been affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Even again, if you have to go to Walmart or somewhere with a mask on, you're being affected. So we're all being. It's a weird time. And every week, me and Rob, we talk about it. We're hoping that we're going to see something normal. Now, I will say this: it worries me, but seeing some of these football games over the weekend make you feel like things get a little normal. But
yes,
it's also awful scary too, man.
Yeah.
Rob, it could be those charts we look at every morning. That's why they're saying that now the death rate's going to double just in October, November, 2.5 months, because they already know that going to these games and getting back to person-to-person teaching and schools, the people, the holiday weekends is just, and now we're going into the flu season. That again, even though we laugh about how dumb you and I have been about this whole thing, think we're sort of figuring it as we're ahead of everyone when we're only like maybe 100 years behind everyone with the figuring out about the immune deal.
If we're
the herd thing, man. Like I was looking for this herd to run over me every morning. I'm walking like a herd of cattle, then I'd be well though after the herd of cattle ran me over. But
exactly.
That's what I was looking for. I think I'm walking in the morning just to talk to you, but no, it's just I don't know, man. I would have every day I say this. I never thought that we be in the middle of something like this, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes you hear something about, well, the flu's breaking out really bad, and this part right here, but not the whole world, man. Not at one time.
Yeah. We have a season. This is global.
No, this is global, guys. It's just
Lori,
and we're
just,
about, and again, it is. It's like we've been told it is just a virus, and it probably will go away one day. But this is something we only see every 100 years, and it's something none of us today have seen before. Probably no one we know have seen before. So we're going to experience firsthand, and some of us are going to be affected by it. Some of us are going to lose someone close to us, and some of us listening to this broadcast right now probably might not make it themselves.
Mhm.
Rob, as it counts, you and I might not make it either.
Mhm.
But we're such big chickens, we probably will make it.
Yep. Can't get it if I don't leave my house.
Really, exactly.
Lori messaged in. She said, "Thank you guys for having me. Really enjoyed it. I think my internet has had enough." LOL. So, yeah, her internet saying no, she can't log back in anymore.
Well, Lori, we appreciate you coming on. We really do. We always looking for something new to talk about. Um, Even vitamin D is sort of boring. No, just joking. That was the internet. By the way, Lori, that's internet Sid when something like that comes out.
He
I don't know if
creeps
you
in.
know if you know who that is. Rob will tell you about it.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, no, we enjoy that. That was a great conversation. We had a question just right before we got you on air tonight. So a guy was staying up just to hear that. So that's really cool. And again, everyone, if you got some story you'd like to talk about, it didn't have to be COVID-19. It could be about music. It could be about my hair. I wouldn't care. No, just anything. We enjoy talking about it. We're going to still talk about things coming up. I would like to talk maybe next week a little bit about um, what you and I've talked a little bit about, Rob, last few mornings and this past week, a little bit about Black Lives Matter, where it's going, what's happening with it, and things like that. I know there's a lot of people who got a lot of concerns. There's a lot of new questions been brought up about it, um, that is worth talking about. So if you got questions next week or somebody wants to join in on that conversation next week, please contact us through the Facebook of Vicious Circle or get in touch with Rod Bellany or myself.
Yep.
But I want to talk about that just a little bit because this is the reason why. And I told my uncle this morning this, and I told Rob this, and being from the South, and I've said a million times that I've always been a little bit embarrassed about the Civil War and how people look at people from the South that maybe we're all like that, and I've tried not to be like that. It didn't come overnight. I'm the first to admit to that. But this is the thing I have tried to do since the whole movement of the Black Lives Matter started up. I've talked about it. I saw a thing on PBS one time with Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey, and they really simply was just saying, us as human beings and people, we have to look at other people as human beings and people. And if they're talking about something right here, they're talking about Black Lives Matter. I myself, and I can't say anyone else, I myself as a person want to be able to say Black Lives Matter and leave it at that. Not say, oh, you know what, but my life matters too. Of course it matters, but if it mattered enough, I'd have my own sign, my own T-shirt, my own hat saying Sid Life Matters. But I'm not doing that because, again, there's a lot of reasons. We don't talk about it tonight. But there's some things I've talked about that now for me to do that, to talk to people and put that message out there, hey, I'm challenging you, and I'm asking you to be able to look at it in this light, just be able to say Black Lives Matter. And it's hard to do that, get people to do that. Even if I suggest, and it's a horrible thing to say, even if I would suggest, could you say Black Lives Matter, even if you get them to stop talking about it, and they can't do that,
Yeah.
And that's what, again, it shocks me. But some of the things that have happened now with Black Lives Matter, it's hard for me to say that anymore. And I want people to maybe ask questions about that next week, and we'll talk about that a little bit.
That's a great topic. I wanted to put this up again. I had it up earlier. My buddy from here in Chatham, his name's James. He said the thing with this COVID thing is that you can be a carrier and show no symptoms. That's the reason for the masks.
Right. No, no, you're right too, James. Look, that's a definitely great reason to wear one. Because if you don't know you have it and you're spread, I mean that's got to be probably the greatest reason to wear one. I mean, because if you don't know you got it and you're spreading it, I mean, who else is getting it and then really being affected by it?
Exactly.
Good statement, James.
Exactly. And Joe Tong messaged, "Hey Rob, hey Sid. Joe is the person who drew the comic for the convention that we were supposed to have in April."
Oh, okay, Joe. Hey, thanks, man. It's good hollering at you tonight, Joe Tong.
It is done, and I should have had one here. I could have shown you. I will have it for
Right.
the next podcast though, so we can show you.
Okay, cool.
Jeremy said, "Thanks guys for being live. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys appreciate the time to your podcast," which absolutely we do. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you, man. This is this really means a lot to me, guys. In the beginning of this podcast, I didn't know how I'd even stick with it, but it's really become a big part of my connection to the people and my fans.
Yeah. And it looks like, and I hope I don't say his name wrong, Pachuco Rodriguez said, "Enjoyed the show. Really awesome." It's nice to see that people are relating.
Right, exactly.
Because I know
Well, that's what. Go ahead, Rob.
I've listened to podcasts, and at the end of it, I'm sitting there going, what did I even listen to? And you realize that they're just doing it just because they want to get it out there, which is fine. But
Right.
I know with you want to make sure people are wanting to hear.
Well, I am really trying hard, and Rob, since the first day I started this podcast, I'm trying to find something no one else is doing, or just a different way of doing something, maybe, and really having no knowledge because I don't watch any other podcasts. I hear about them and I see what they're trying to do, but again, I feel like ours is growing. We've even talked about maybe starting a separate one to where other things could grow, but this one right now, I really like the way where we're going this and how things are growing.
It's very organic, and that's the best sign.
No, it is, Rob. It really is. And we've had over the year, we ought to do this one day. We've been trying to say, for instance, I've been trying to do this with Rob's help, is try to get like some casted, characters that are sort of funny, like Jeff Arthur, the president of Rob Bell and his fan club. You got to get someone like that, ask him the right question, get the right answer, and he's really going to be super, super funny guy, especially when I put him on the spot. But we're trying to find little things, little niches like that for our show.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some really cool guests on over the last year. Some really cool conversations. Again, talking to Lori tonight was, of course, our last one, our latest. But, again, get a chance to talk about COVID-19. And then my favorite subject is always music. We got to talk about music in the Weevil and bring up cool stories about Bachelor Bob and Captain Pete, and carry those stories on and stuff like that. So to me, I'm hoping everyone, even the story about you looking at my eye.
Yes.
I hope that people remember that, say, wow, that's not your regular podcast. You get to see the vein in Sid's eyeball.
No, not very often. Not at all.
Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, let me see here. Let's end with this.
We've had Dr. Stevel on this show.
Yes, the good doctor.
We need to get him back sometime.
Yes. Oh, I know he would. He's still very grumpy at COVID because it ruined his plans to come see you.
Oh, well, we're going to get going.
Yep, we'll get there. It's going to happen. Okay, so the last one here, Matthew Gustovich. Hopefully I said that right. Hey guys, just jumped on. Are you watching the Cowboys game? No.
Who's winning, Matthew?
We're doing a podcast. We're not watching.
No, really.
Okay, Matthew, your question's been revoked. I'm going to ask you one last one.
All right.
And this goes with that whole welcome back to WWF here. The name Psycho Sid, who came up with that? Like, did you have any connection to creation or anything? Or was it just, here you go?
It was here you go. And I told the story, I guess you don't remember. Maybe I haven't told it to you, is that what happened was, of course, I sit down with Vince and we talk about what we're going to do. And then I get brought to TVs. And then I think I got I was told what name I was going to use walking to the ring. And I never even picked up on the music or the lighting, that the lighting was like you were in the shower, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I remember this is why it was so great for me to be a dumb country guy, right? It didn't affect me. If you would have been made fun of like that and thrown out there with that name and that music, you know, without being asked or anything like that, it might have affected you, but it never did affect me. I didn't know, didn't care. And I remember finally someone, because I never put it over because I didn't figure it out. I remember one of the guys, so the guys are so stupid. They're like, they want to laugh at you, but when you can't, you don't know what, you know, how, you know, what, if it's not funny to you, if you don't know how bad it is, it can't be funny for anyone else. So finally someone said, Sid, you know what they're doing with that music? And I went, no, I didn't, you know, so, but that's how it was just gave to me at Augusta, Georgia, in front of 400 people.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I know you and I have talked about it, but we have never spoken about it here.
Oh, I got you.
That's why I wanted to get that out there for him. And then I guess we will end with Matthew. He said Cowboys 14-13.
All right, man. I know, back to my grandmother, I'm always going to be a Cowboy fan at heart.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I am a Pittsburgh guy, but it's only because my best friend is a Steelers fan, and I sort of got sucked into watching the games with her for a while, and
right.
I kind of like them. They're good.
Is this the same friend you promised you would not watch the Republican National Convention?
No, that's different friend in Philadelphia. Yeah.
You could tell these people that you're promising that to, that you're not American. It's not going to hurt you to watch it, you know. We wouldn't let you vote, Rob, because you owe us 2 containers of aluminum.
Is that what it is? I think that's the tariff now, right?
I'm going to figure out a different one if I have to. I'm working with, matter of fact, I'm thinking about running the campaign for Kanye West.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
You'll get him.
I might be the running mate. You know, I might be vice president.
Kanye and Sid. This is going to be interesting.
We'll both go to the hospital for carpal tunnel, whatever it's called. I heard that the other day, that he actually had to go to the hospital because of an internet injury.
See, I
did you hear that?
No, actually, an internet injury.
I heard that. I swear to God, he had to go to the doctor over internet, something he was doing on his laptop.
Well, I know stories of what guys do with laptops, so
yeah. Well, not me. I do that with my phone.
There we go. It's easier. It's in one hand, right?
Right.
Excellent. Well, Sid, thanks a lot for being here tonight.
You too, Rob.
This is always a blast, and I guess that's it for us.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I know we didn't get into a whole lot of wrestling, but the questions took us outside the box, and me and Rob put like our foot on the curb just a little bit. We don't like it just in concrete. Like Emmylou Harris said, you never step into the same river twice. The river's always flowing. That's our podcast. It's always flowing. To get a good feel for the podcast, sometimes you might want to watch about 16 hours of the Ken Burns country music documentary. And you'll come on here and you'll know what "don't get above your raisin" means. And we'll go from there.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Gotcha.
You've been listening to the Vicious Circle podcast. Your host, Sid Udi. Co-host, Rob Bellamy. Additional research by Pete Marsh. The Vicious Circle podcast is produced by Two Cousin Road Trip Productions, a division of JX3 Media Productions. The intro music is Unleash the Giants by Cemetery Spawn, and the outro music is Digging Space by Mike Treblecott.